Okay, so we're going to do a couple problems together here, my absent folks, just to hopefully answer any questions that you have. I'm going to pick number 2 to start on our velocity and guess intro problems, just because I feel like it's a little more of a complicated problem than number 1. Just so we have a bit of a variety. So if you feel okay with this one, we should be able to do 1 and 3 okay. Now remember, there's notes that are attached, so please look at those first if you need to before completing this assignment. That's going to help us with this assignment here. So I have a cat sprints north from home. If a cat ran north for 120 seconds at a velocity of 4 seconds, what was the cat's displacement from home? So using my guess steps, I'm going to first write out my givens, so the symbols, the letters that stand for these values, and the units. So the cat ran north for 120 seconds. 120 seconds, that's a unit for time. So I can put t equals 120 seconds. T being the symbol for time. I'm going to include that seconds unit at a velocity of 4 meters per second. So the symbol for velocity is a v. So I can use v and it equals 4.0 meters per second. My unknown here, what was the cat's displacement from home? So that's what I'm looking for in the problem. So looking at my notes, displacement is represented with the letter D. Now I only have one equation that we've been working with in the notes. That's our speed/velocity equation, so it's used to find either speed or velocity and any unknowns that we have. So I have v, t, and d. This is an equation that has v, t, and d in it. Now right now this is set up to solve for velocity, and I am trying to instead solve for displacement. So in my sub box here, I'll rewrite my equation, and I'm going to have to rearrange this to set it up for solving for displacement. So first step to that, and we have these all rearranged for you in the notes as well, so feel free to use those. But first step for that, fractions are gross. We want to get rid of the fraction. So opposite of division is multiplication. And I'm going to keep this balanced. So what I do on one side, I'm going to do on the other side. That way these cancel out. And I get t times v equals d. Now this says equals d here. So this is now all set up to solve for displacement. So I'll start with my time first. So time was 120 seconds times my velocity, which was 4 meters per second. Right? And so you can enter that in your calculator, 120 seconds times 4 meters per second. And you get 480 here. So up at the top, I can put my answer. So I'm going to use the symbol, so D to represent displacement. And then I answer with the unit for 180 meters. Now displacement is a vector quantity. So if there's a direction listed, direction is important here. And so if I go back in the problem here, it says a cat sprints north from home. And ideally too, if I wanted to, I could have written this down to remind myself early on in the problem. But since I have a direction that's included and displacement is a vector quantity, I'm going to include that direction here with my answer. So these are our guess steps, guesswork. And we'll do one more practice problem. I figured I will do 4 here on this worksheet, so we'll do an average speed one with our initials and finals.